How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Are you able to learn about their defense?
And anytime you put something on tape, there's something that you can learn about somebody. And we're playing a really good team. They have a really good defense, and they do a lot of really good things.
How much that week of rest helped your physical situation?
I don't.
How much different are the Giants looking on film?
They've shown to change a little bit after we played them that first time, and they've done it well. Whether they're playing man coverage, they do that well. Whether they're playing zone coverage, they play that well. So just on us executing versus them. They have really good players in the interior, on the edge, on the perimeter. A really good defense, a really good opponent we're about to play again.
How important is it to have Lane back, and what do you think of what he's battling through to be out there on Saturday night with you?
He's a true warrior. That'll be a decision that he has to make.
Is healthy enough to do more design runs such as his own reads, and are you concerned that the Giants may try to target that shoulder if you guys do that?
I got a bounty on me every week I go out there on the field, so go out there and just play my game. Whatever happens, happens.
You mentioned to us last week that you have played through injuries before. What does it take from a mental standpoint to prepare yourself for that?
Get it done.
When you see a team a third time, what's that mental catalog like for you?
I can't say that in a one season I've seen a team 3 times, but nonetheless, you just want to double down on that process. Obviously, when you have guys that hang around from year to year and you're in a division, well, there's a lot of familiarity with that. 2 months, playing them 3 times, so it'll be fun.
How do you balance helping to get a team locked in for a game where if you lose your season's over versus being loose enough to be able to play, not getting too tight?
It's simple, just going out there and doing what you've been doing all year. We've always had a focused approach, a laser-focused approach, a process-oriented approach, a diligent approach to what we're doing, so nothing changes.
You also said that you had a bounty on you every week. Do you feel like there are some shots that you've taken that maybe should have drawn a flag?
Obviously the quarterback gets a lot of attention. I think every quarterback in the league has a bounty on them in a sense.
I'm standing up, man. I'm ready.
Do the Eagles do anything unique in the way that they rush?
They have good players all across the board, so they run some twist games, they pressure, but really they have good players, so they're good players each.
You saw Reddick. Did you think that it helped to learn something from seeing him again?
Yeah, the more snaps that he rushed against me was a better opportunity for me to understand how he rushes and how he's going to, approach going against me, for sure.
Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox were probably in those games, and they're still out there now. Does their longevity, strike you at all? And did you watch them?
Yeah, I knew who Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox was as a kid, and playing against those guys, it's cool. It's the NFL, it's what it's all about. The longevity is a testament to them, being a pro, taking care of their bodies, and doing the right thing, so that way they can make it that far in their career.
As a player, do you look at that scoreboard and say, we want another shot at these guys?
Obviously, I believe that we can go out there and put together a better game than we did the first game, but I believe we're a different team than we were the first time we played those guys. I feel like we're peaking as a team. We're coming together at the right moments, and on Saturday we're going to go out there and see what happens.
I'm extremely excited. It's another opportunity to play the game that I love.
You guys have seen the Giants now 3 times in what, a matter of 6 or 7 weeks here. How have they evolved as a team from the first time you saw them?
I think they're playing better. They're playing faster. They change the looks on the back end. Of course, you see a team that many times. Of course they're going to do something different. So are we.
Do you find it to be an advantage or a disadvantage to play a team 3 times in that short of time span?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times you play it. It comes down to this opportunity. You shouldn't be worried about what you did in the past.
Jalen was sore coming off of the game. How do you think he's doing this week?
How you know that?
That's what Nick Sirianni said. He said he's sore coming out of the game.
I don't know. I'm not inside this man's body. I don't know if his shoulder's hurt or whatever. His vibe is he's ready to go.
Is Philadelphia any more hostile to play in than other road cities?
It's a divisional game. I think that brings some intensity to it, and they're known for having a good crowd that supports their team, and
makes it so difficult. I know you only actually started there once, I believe, but as an organization, you guys haven't won there since 2013.
But they're a good team. It's a good environment. They bring a lot of energy. Fans are passionate.
Eagles have, I think, 70 sacks. What, aside from that number, what makes their front and their pass rush so challenging to deal with?
They've got good players. They got good players and know how to get to the quarterback. So we'll have a plan for those guys, and we got a lot of confidence in our guys up front.
You see what you were seeing from the Giants defense week 14. How much have they changed up what they're doing?
They kind of figure out, what we do in certain situations. They're going to bring a counter to that. And, I think it just kind of feeds off, they change things up even in this second game. And, I know they'll change stuff again for this one. So it's really just kind of, how every game goes is they're going to give a problem. We come up with a solution, and it's, it's a back and forth battle.
Defensively, they've changed a little bit, just their philosophy, different coverages, things like that.
TJ Hawkinson had a pretty big game against them on Saturday or Sunday. Does that kind of excite you as a tight end, thinking maybe you can take advantage of some things there?
Hopefully they do the same to me, and I can have a big game, but ultimately whatever I can do to help the team win, I'm going to do, and just try to win all my one-on-one matchups. If we can go out there and execute the game plan and take care of each 11 people out there, take care of their one-on-ones, I think we'll be sitting in a really good position.
Different experience the first time you played the Giants versus that last time to close out the regular season. What do you think was the biggest difference you noticed on the field from that first meeting to the second time that you're now using to prepare for your meeting in the postseason?
All these unorthodox looks, Wink does a good job of disguising and running some weird looks. So we're just going to work on that and try our best to come up with a game plan. So
whenever you have familiarity with the team, and there's a little bit more to it when it's a in-division opponent, I think. We really try and keep the focus on ourselves, make sure that we're ready to go, and try and not focus too much on that other stuff.
Is it a challenge, though? We've seen the Giants kind of change up their defense a little bit.
They're a multiple defense. They can get to a lot of different fronts, a lot of different personnels, a lot of different looks. Certainly Will Bliss, highest percentage in the league. You got to be ready for everything and anything, especially from Wink. You got to be ready in game to make adjustments. Probably going to have some new things dialed up too. You just got to be ready for everything. I mean, they've been a great team all year. Daniel Jones probably put together maybe his best game of the season.
You work really hard to get to this point, focus on keeping the main thing, and get to the preparation on this week's opponent, which, number one seed, the one to East. They beat us twice. They got 8 Pro Bowlers, 6 All-Pros.
When you play a team twice in 3 weeks like you did against Washington, is there anything you could take from that approach?
We've had some pretty time that's close between each opponent. So, again, you watch the games, you do everything you did, that you do each week to prepare for a team.
They were using Hurts differently. They weren't going to use him on design runs. How much do you expect a different version of him?
Plan for everything. What they do or not do, you never know going into a game, so it'll be the standard procedure that we usually do.
Do you expect them to run him more, or him to be able to run more than he did in that game?
I don't know. I think you got to prepare for everything. Look, we put together a plan we thought was going to work, like we do every week. And when you have 2 games to look at, you really study those games. But you're studying every game they've played.
What do you make of the Eagles' front on defense?
They're really good. They're hard to block. They can stop the run. They got a lot of really good players. Pretty much all pro or Pro Bowl at every spot.
Is there any extra motivation you guys can pull from the first meeting with Philadelphia and how it got a little lopsided?
No, every game's different.
Brian, there were 2 different results from those games against the Eagles, and obviously 2 different personnels on the field. Do you still view both games equally in terms of reviewing the film?
No, there weren't 2 different results. There was one, right? We lost both of them. So, no, we went out there and competed. Got outplayed, got outcoached by a really good team. That's why they had a bye week.
When you look at what they've built in Philadelphia, is there anything that specifically impresses you about what they've done long term to make that team good and franchise good?
No, I just got a lot of respect for that team and that coaching staff, that front office, and the players.
Practice against James Bradbury a lot. What is he like as a player, and what makes him tough to go against?
He's a really good player. He's smart. You can tell he studies a lot. True pro. We spend a lot of time going against each other.
You've been studying him. Did he look like the best team you've played so far?
Probably, yeah. They're a good team. They're an explosive offense. They got a good defense. I think they have talented players across the board. They play hard. They're smart. You can
Study Jalen, but you see how much he's run. How effective is it? Kind of like you kind of understand what he's going through.
He's carrying the ball a lot. He's doing a lot for their offense. He's extremely effective in the run game, and a lot of respect to him and all he's doing.
You spoke about picking things up from different coaches you've worked with. Brian Dable, what did you pick up in time with him?
Coach Dable, he's an energetic coach, very passionate. Spent a year with him at Alabama, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Nick said that the first time he met you was at Combine. He was with Dable. You recall that interaction?
Yeah, I just was walking by. I spoke to Coach Sirianni. I met with the coach, so I knew who Coach Sirianni was, but they're really good friends.
What did you take from last year's games against the Giants?
Did that spawn any of that improvement? That wasn't your best game, and since that game, you've kind of taken off as a player.
I don't think so. I think I learn from the good, learn from the bad, and move on. Try and learn from everything, remain consistent, use all of these formative experiences, things that I've been able to experience, and just learn from it.
Do you remember any of the teachable moments from that game, the Giants? You had some picks, you had an ankle.
I had an ankle. You turn the ball over, good things don't happen. I don't want to single out this game. Just learn from everything.
What challenge does this version of the Giants present?
Yeah, they've always been a really physical football team. They're playing really well on defense. They're playing really well on offense. Coach really well, really good players that disrupt the pocket, disruptive on the back end too.
They're very blitz heavy. Is that noticeable on film?
Yeah, you notice it. You notice it when you watch them play on TV. They're really good at what they do. It presents a challenge. We have to be ready for the challenge.
Are they just the best two cornerback tandem you've seen? Or what makes them difficult as a group, the two of them?
This year, so far, yeah, this year, yeah. Two veteran corners, smart. They both played football for a long time. Brad's a little bit of a bigger, heavier guy, physical. Slay's a little lighter, but great hips, good speed, so played well this year.
Been in touch with Bradbury at all?
Nah, I haven't spoke to him probably a month or two.
What do you think he's thinking?
Another day. That's just kind of his personality. He's very even keel. He's not really much of a get ramped up kind of guy.
Does it feel different preparing for a team that's 11-1?
No, not really. Every team has strengths, has weaknesses. Obviously we're going to try to exploit the weaknesses and stay away from the strengths. There's been times where they've been in close games and they've just been able to make a play to win the game or two. But
there's a lot of animosity in this rivalry with these Giants.
So I remember a lot of guys talk about being pelted with eggs and whatever.
I would say so. I don't think Eagles fans and Giants fans are going to be going to dinner together. The Commanders and the Cowboys are all, arch enemies.
Talk about Jalen Hurts and his development this year.
Tremendous person, first and foremost. Highly competitive, extremely smart, great leader. Reason why he's probably at the top of the list for MVP right now. Go on and on about Jalen. It means a lot to me. Yeah, he's always been really good. Won a lot wherever he's been. He's a winner. He's made every throw he's had to make. He's tough to bring down.
You look at this team statistically, and
I think the biggest statistic is 11-1, and how he's done a great job of putting together a really good team. And I think Nick, fantastic coach, known him for a while. It's the most out of his guys. They're the best team in the league.
What catches your attention when you watch film of them?
Everything. Defensive line, their receivers, their quarterback, their offensive line. Throw AJ, Devontae. Running game is really good. Their defense, their corners, their line. They can rush the passer, stop the run. It's the reason why they're 11-1.
Brian, what stands out to you about AJ Brown?
Strong, excellent hands, can make contested catches, run after catch, complete receiver. A lot of familiarity with I would say, Jalen and Brown and Devontae.
What have you seen from James Bradbury on film?
Yep.
Is it tough at all to know that he could be here?
No, that's the NFL. Bradbury and Slay are really good corners. They can play zone, they can play man, they're experienced. I think they read routes well.
Brian, when you're watching the Eagles,
going back to Alabama, what is it about Hurts that enabled him to respond so well?
He's as competitive and mentally tough as I've ever been around. Great teammate. Unfortunately, we have to play them twice a year, and he's a special young man to me, and he's just a mentally tough guy, Pat. Nothing rattles him. He doesn't get rattled. So he got this happened. He don't worry about all that stuff. Short time I was around him. I haven't been around him for 5 years or whatever it is, but you have a great appreciation for his mental toughness, his competitive stamina, and his leadership.
This NFC East division has just had an incredible turnaround. Does it add a level of intensity?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. These games, it can go either way.
I just saw Bradbury today. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a little amped up for this game. You coming from your former team, I think of course you're going to have some feelings towards it. Very smart. He works extremely hard. His knowledge of the game.
How do you kind of control not getting too high or too low despite how critical these next couple games are?
Every game is critical. I think this game right now, this division game is the most important one because it's the next one.
there anybody you talked to on the Giants?
Leonard Williams, Adoree, Tate Crowder, quite a few defensive guys that I keep in contact with.
They'd be a better team with you.
When I first got there, I thought it was going to be a better team with me, and we didn't do that. It takes a team to win a football game. Like overall, we got a better team here. We just didn't have the team to win games then. I got released because of salary cap, and then we weren't winning. So I understand that this is a business at the end of the day. So.
You know their receivers obviously pretty well, Slayton especially. How does that help you going into this game?
Yeah, I know Slayton's primarily the main one that's still playing that I'm familiar with. He's a really fast guy. They were already kind of aware of that.
What's the teaching points, I guess, for you guys knowing that they have a quarterback who will take off?
Of course we got to get after him with the D-line, but you want to first and foremost keep him in the pocket.
Signing a one-year deal allows you to reset the market. How do you think your value is right now?
I think my value is pretty high as a player. At least I hope so. It feels good to win. I know that definitely helps out.
You want to stay here after this year?
I'm open to staying here. I'm going to be business first, and it has to make sense for me to stay here. And, of course, they have to want me to stay here, too. So winning is definitely a part of the decision, but it's more variables, too.
Saquon Barkley having another great year. What makes him such a freak, I guess?
Good man up above, blessed him with a lot of talent. He was born that way, too. So I'm just glad to see him doing well. Makes me happy for him.
I think he's a little more hype for this one. Like, how can he not be?
James is gonna be James,
Does he have that other hype?
He just gonna be, do his job. And I think I just said a second ago, he's gonna check his box and making sure he's doing what he needs to do to help the team win.
Can y'all feel that? Can you feel what's about to happen on this field, man? Can you feel what we about to get into? They don't respect us. They don't know about our heart, man. That thing that's beating your doggone chest right now. Whatever you got today, I got to have it. There ain't no doggone tomorrow, fellas. What are you gonna bring to the doggone table? Are you gonna bust somebody in their mouth? Are you gonna do your doggone job? Are you gonna bring your doggone test? Are you gonna bring your